everybody. I'm starting my first Facebook Live yoga. And normally I do this class weekly with friends. So this is going to be a little bit funky for me today because I might have to be managing some of the stuff on my computer and then also teaching yoga. Here we go. So thank you for bearing with me. I have a collection of some friends that join class every week. Jess, Michelle, Taryn, Junko are my active participants, and they'll likely be joining as well. It made me send a link to everybody to join this room, and so again, I don't really know how that works. I'm supposed to do this on YouTube, and that took forever to connect to the 24-hour session. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start the session, and I believe my friends will join, or they'll just be able to see this on Facebook Live. So normally when I start yoga, we always start with a grounding exercise. So as you get ready to join class today, if you have something that supports you, like blanket or blocks, I have blocks here. You don't have to use blocks, but I find that they're very supportive when you need them in poses. I also have some other equipment too that I use just because I like to use that during my poses. But anytime we start our yoga practice, I like to start with a grounding exercise. So take a moment, whether you're in your chair, maybe you're working, maybe you're driving. If you're driving, maybe don't do any grounding exercises except breathing. Or maybe try to lie down too. So let's take a moment to get some deep breaths in our system. Inhaling through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Maybe you want to bring your hands to heart center. Finding your inhales and exhales. Do this a few more times. Taking a moment to connect with the earth below you and just feeling that grounding at the moment. And on your next breath, we're going to connect our breath to movement. We're going to inhale, arms up to the sky, and then exhale. A few more times. Inhale and exhale. Maybe finding your way to a more comfortable seated posture. Exhale. Maybe bring one hand down to the floor, and then you're going to inhale, stretch your arm up, and then exhale, lower down to the ground. Get that good side body stretch in. And maybe you want to open your heart up to the sky. If that feels comfortable for you, if that's too much, you can go ahead and look down to the ground or at your computer screen. On your next inhale, bring your arms up. And then exhale, lower one arm to the ground. Inhale up, and then exhale. Oh, that side body stretch feels so good. And maybe on your next inhale, open up to the sky. And then exhale, bring both arms up for a big full body stretch. And maybe you want to roll your wrists a little. And then do the opposite way. And this is one of my favorites. We're going to inhale up, and then we're going to stretch down to the ground. I bring my blocks in front of me so I can have a little bit of height. And then get into that lower back. Maybe you want to just move a little side to side if that's something that's calling to you. And then release. And then walk your hands out to the right side body. Inhale up and exhale down. Bring your hands back to center. And then switch the cross of your legs. Then we're going to inhale up once again. And then exhale, lower down to the ground. That lower back. Now walk your hands out towards the left. Inhale up and then exhale. Back to center. The kind of yoga that I like to teach is a certified trauma-informed yoga. And you'll notice that I have a lot of props, and that's part of what I really enjoy doing, because the kind of yoga that I used to do before, which was core power, it was really, really hard on my body. And I realized that props were one thing that was really missing in my yoga practice. Inhale up. You'll notice I extended my leg out. I'm using this prop right here by my knee. I'm just holding on to that. Doing my side bend. You'll notice my feet too are pointed up to the sky. Inhale, back up. And lower that. Switch the cross or the extension of your leg. The left leg is always the tricky one for me. It's where I have the most tightness. Inhale, extend up, and then lower down. And then this has been a long time coming. I've been teaching yoga online to my friends for about a year on Zoom, and I've really wanted to offer these classes live, whether on YouTube or Facebook, and so this is the first time that I'm doing it. I was a little nervous about it, but it kind of feels good to be able to bring this to more people, and it also encourages me to work out even more and keep my practice up. So I'm extending my legs out, and I'm going to inhale and stretching my arms up. And then exhale. I'm rounding my back and hanging on to the tops of my toes for a little bit of a stretch. And you'll notice that there is this space underneath my knee. I am not straightening my legs completely. I'm having a very generous bend here. Inhale, exhale. Excellent. Okay, and now we're gonna move into, actually I was gonna do some on the floor, but I think I'm gonna do some cat-cows and then move into some other poses here. So we're gonna do a tabletop here. So get into your comfortable tabletop position. We're gonna inhale, getting that flexion in your spine, and then exhale, and inhale. Looking up is the cow pose, and then exhale, release. And then on your next inhale, we're going to stretch our arm. I'm doing my right arm first, up towards the sky, and then I'm doing what's called threading the needle, which is right underneath my left arm. I'm extending my left arm out, and if you want even more of a bind or twist, you can extend your arm behind your back and hang on to the top of your thigh. And you can kind of look up too to the sky if you want to have a little bit of a heart opener. But again, if that's too much, just you can keep your arm right here by your face, and that's cool. Find those breaths. And go ahead and push yourself back up and bring your arm up to the sky, and then release back down. Take the opposite arm now and stretch up. And then thread the needle, extending out. Finding your breath. Find those breaths. And then maybe again, if you want to challenge yourself, you can take that bind. But if it feels like it's too much on your shoulder, back out of it. That's the point of the kind of yoga that I enjoy teaching, this trauma-informed yoga. If it feels too much, it is too much. So go ahead and back out of it. You listen to your body. And that's that. Bring your hand back towards your face. And extend up and release. Okay, and now we're going to do some stretches. So you're going to, or kind of balances / stretches. So you're back in your tabletop pose, and then you're going to extend. I'm starting with my right leg. Extend your right leg out, and then bring it towards the left, towards the opposite side. And then you can kind of just like pedal it out a little bit if you want to. But you get that really good side crescent stretch here. And because I'm doing my right leg towards my left, my right side body is feeling this stretch. Really in my obliques. And you release that, bring that back up. And then you're going to bring that leg, I'm going to move my props here. Bring that leg out towards the right. And bring the flat part of your foot here, I guess the arch really, towards the right. And this is too much for me. I went out too much. So I'm feeling a tinge in my hip. And then you can lower down like this and stretch your inner thigh. And you can even choose to put your hands resting on your forehead. And then release. Bring it back up towards tabletop. Bring that leg out behind you, and then back into tabletop for the opposite leg. So now extend your other leg out left, and I'm going to bring it towards the right side body. And then now I'm kind of doing my little mini crescent here, looking towards my opposite leg that's outstretched, and I'm feeling it in my left side body. Stretch, feels really good. Extend it back behind you, and then bring it all the way out to the side. And then this hip for me feels a lot better. The other one felt really uncomfortable when I did this side stretch here. And then I'm going to lower down. If you don't want to lower down, you don't have to. But this feels like you can open up a little more. That's something that's available for you. Find your breaths. Oh, I think I'm going to take a little mini break because it seems like some of my people are trying to join here and I don't know how to add them. I don't know how that happens. Well, that's okay. Okay, we'll keep going. Sorry guys, I hope that you're able to see this still. Okay, so where was I? I was doing the thread the needle, and then, okay, so now we're gonna move into some balancing. So back into tabletop, and we're gonna do some just side balancing. So extend that left arm out, and extend your right leg out in front of you. And take some breaths. Ooh, this one's hard. If you haven't done balancing in a while, it can be a little tricky. So we're just hanging on to this for a few moments. I have a timer in front of me, so I'm focusing on that. Okay, and then you can go ahead and release that. Whew. Okay, bring yourself back into a little bit of a child's pose. We're gonna work on the other side. Extend your right arm out and bring your opposite leg up, and then find that balance. And again, find your breath. When it gets hard, when it gets tough,
The breath is the thing that allows us to remain centered and focused. That can equate in life too. Believe me, I use breath a lot to help reduce anxiety and stress. And release. Excellent. Okay, bring yourself back into a little bit of a child's pose. And now we're going to move our way into a little bit of a downward dog. So press your hands into your mat. And maybe you want to pedal out your feet in this first downward dog. I don't know how many of you have been able to work out regularly, or if not. This has been my workout during COVID, during the pandemic. I wish I could do it more, but these classes have really helped me continue to keep on a little bit of a regular schedule and workout regime. On your next breath, extend your right leg out. Oop, I'm kicking my plant. Right leg out. And then bring it in. Bring your knee to your elbow. And then you're going to extend it out. Once again, 2 more times. Bring your knee to your right elbow. Extend it out. Knee to your right elbow. And then you're going to release your foot between your hands. You'll notice I'm bringing my blocks into play here because I like to hang on to my blocks. And notice I'm kind of peeking my hands on my blocks a little bit because it helps give me a little stability. Finding my breath. And if you don't have blocks, that's cool. You don't need them. You can also just hang out on your knee here, and that's also giving you the kind of balance that you're looking for. Or if you want to take it up a notch, you can bring yourself up. Maybe your hands are in prayer pose. Finding your breath, always. Find that breath, find that focus. If you want to take it up another notch, you can go ahead and twist to the opposite side. My left elbow is touching my right knee, and I'm working to remain focused. I'm looking in one direction, a corner in the room, and I'm just focused on that. And when it gets hard, I come back to my breath. Hang on for just a couple more breaths here. And then you're going to release. Hands back to heart center. Bring your hands back down to the blocks. You're going to reverse the direction that you came down in. Bring your right foot back into your downward dog. And then just sit tight in our prayer pose right here before we move to the opposite side. Just take some breaths. Excellent. You can go ahead and bring yourself back up into your downward dog. Left leg out behind you. Before you do, your knee to elbow. So left knee comes to left elbow. And then you release it back up. 2 more times. Left knee to left elbow. And then bring it back up. Last time. Left knee to left elbow. And then you release that foot in between your hands or your blocks. And you can just hang out here. If this is comfortable for you, hang out. If you want a little more, you can again bring yourself back up, hang out on your knee, and this is totally cool. Or you can bring yourself up just a touch more, hands at heart center. Find your breath, find your focus. Inhale, Exhale a few more times. And if you want it a little more, then you go ahead and twist to that opposite side. Right elbow to left knee in your prayer pose. Again, when you feel wobbly, when it feels hard, come back to your breath. It will guide you. Now let's reverse back to our prayer. Hands back to blocks. And then release back to our downward dog. Now bring ourselves back to our knees. We're going to take a little moment. Ooh, getting hot. I don't know about you guys. So we're going to do a little bit of another heart opener. So a little camel pose, but we're going to start right here. The hands on your knees. And I have my blocks nearby again. You move your way up into this position. And in camel, you can do very simple camel, which is your hands right on the small part of your back. And that's like first stage camel. And that's great. And then you basically bring yourself, stretch it up. Stretch yourself up from your base to your crown. And then you start having your eyes follow the ceiling a little bit. Don't stretch your neck too much if it feels like too much. I can't be a super duper yoga star and hang on to my ankles always. So sometimes you just want to chill out and just do what your body can handle. And this is enough, or this is enough, or resting is enough. A few more breaths. And then release. And then you're going to find your way into resting. Right here. And we're going to do that one more time. You can almost feel your heart beating, or you can definitely feel your heart beating if you're doing that pose. Feels good. All right, we're going to do the next one. Inhale. Finding that length and the bend simultaneously. If you want to go again, I can't even reach my blocks like this. This is good. I don't need any more. A few more breaths. And release. Finding your rest. Maybe your right hand is on your heart. Just taking a moment to feel that pose. I remember when I was in Core Power, anytime we would do that kind of pose, they would say that this pose brings up a lot of emotions and energy and stuff like that. I never knew really what that meant. I was like, my heart is just beating really fast. Maybe that's what it is. It usually is. Okay, excellent. All right, so now we are gonna move through, what's next on the list? Okay, we're gonna move through some gentle twists here. And we're gonna cross our right leg over our left. Gonna bring our left leg on our right and just gently twist
You can even do this in a chair if you're in a chair. And the way that you do it in a chair is you just have your feet on the ground and you would just hang onto your knees and just gently twist, or you can hang onto the chair, the seat of the chair. It doesn't have to be too much. Now switch. But just enough for you to feel that movement. You got the circulation and the blood going. Okay, excellent. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and do something really, really fun that I love to do. This is one of my favorite stretches. You don't need to use a strap for this at all, but I like to use a strap just because it helps me. I'm gonna show you what it looks like before I walk you through it, but you're gonna lower down gently to the ground. And it's like a fallen star type pose. So you inhale, you stretch your right leg up. And notice I have a generous bend in my left leg. And then as I'm ready, I release it. And then you'll notice I have a block right there. So it takes me a little while to like line up my block to my foot. And then I release it to the ground. So you don't need to do this with a strap. I like to use a strap. And then I can extend my opposite arm out and then twist the other direction. And I love this stretch so much because it really helps with my IT band. And I didn't realize I had such a tight IT band until after I was pregnant or during pregnancy. It was like really hurting my knee a lot. And my husband kind of taught me this kind of stretch, and then I learned it in another yoga class. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the answer to some of my pain and problems, is just this simple stretch. Because if we sit a lot, which we are doing a lot of, you can never get into this IT band unless you do something kind of like this. Oh, go ahead and release that back up. And then lower to the ground. And then we're going to switch. And then release in the opposite way. Again, this is my very tight side here. You'll probably find the difference too between the two sides that you're working on. We always try to find a little symmetry in yoga if we can with the movements, because we always tend to favor one side over the other in how we sit, how we sleep, how we stand, and it shows up in our muscles, our tightness. It's pretty noticeable. If I haven't done yoga in a while, I can tell how my body is starting to acclimate to my regular behavior and how I sit, stand, and sleep. And then release that. Up. Okay, now since we're already on the ground, we're gonna find our way back up into a boat pose. You're gonna like gently kind of roll yourself up like this. And this used to be my favorite thing, just kind of rolling yourself a little bit back up. And we're gonna find our way into a little bit of a boat pose. We're gonna do some tiny bit of core here. And I like to, again, use some blocks too here to, okay, I think my people are able to see it, so that's good. My students who have been joining. Okay, so I have my my blocks up here, because sometimes I like to rest my feet on top of my blocks. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring my hands up, and if you're new to this kind of core workout, definitely do some baby steps. So instead of going straight up into boat pose and being like, woo, like I can do core, like we have to build up those muscles first. So I always recommend using some kind of like block, books, pillow or something to just start training your muscles a little bit. And so this is something like very simple that you can do. You can also play with it, and you can remove one foot off of the block and then lower it. You can remove another foot off of the block and lower it. But figure out what works for you. My timer was here. I have a little egg timer here. Oh, here's my 30-second timer. So we're gonna do a couple sets of this. We're gonna hold it for 30 seconds each set. So choose your little mini adventure. Do you wanna keep your feet on the blocks or in a stationary place? Do you wanna just raise one foot up and the other one the next set? Do you wanna raise both feet up? You get to choose. So figure out what works for you, and the timer has started for 30 seconds. And I'll let you know when it is done. You can just put your hands out like this. You can put your hands up. You have your choice. We're more than halfway there. And release. And go ahead and reset. And we're going to try that again. Ooh, okay. Lower. Oops. Gonna get the timer on. The timer has started. Now we go. Breaths. When it gets hard, breathe. But always be breathing. More than halfway there. A few more breaths. And release. Okay, we have one more. Okay. Choose your adventure. And go. Excellent. I wish the chats were closer so I can see them. I have no idea what's going on over there, but I can see a stream and what looks like a bird from far away. I'm down with that. All right, release. Okay. And now we're gonna go ahead and move into, we're gonna lower down to the ground. Lower. And we're gonna go ahead and make 90 degrees with our feet. We're gonna do figure 4 here. Just kind of like a little, a pigeon for your back. So if you have some back pain, hip pain, this is definitely something that can help out a lot with that. And I feel like this is a very gentle form of pigeon in some ways. And we'll be doing the full pigeon supported in a little bit. But go ahead and do this figure 4 right now, which you can extend that left leg up if you want to, or you can just go ahead and just release it and let it chill and interlace your fingertips behind your knee. And just relax in this position. A few more breaths. And then switch sides. Let me get my little timer here. Switch side, the left leg goes over the right knee and the timer's going. No, I didn't do it on the other one. And find your figure 4 here. A few more breaths.
And go ahead and release. We're gonna roll ourselves back up again into our supported pigeon. This is one of my favorite poses. And it took me a long time to love this because it's pretty harsh. So I use pigeon with a giant pillow. This is one of those kind of supporting bolsters that they have in yoga class. My mama gifted it to me for Christmas last year, and it's been awesome. I love it so much. But I'm going to show you how to use one of these bolsters, or if you have pillows or even a block, you can do supported pigeon. And I feel like it's one of the best ways to do pigeon, because if you're not as flexible, it's really hard to expect somebody to dump down into a pose. So you get on your bolster or block or something, and you just kind of get to the edge of it. I also use blocks as well. So I'm kind of working my way very gently into my pigeon posture, which is my shin is ideally parallel to the mat. I don't always get to go there, so it tends to make a little bit of an angle. It's not a perfect pigeon, but my aim is not perfection. It's just what feels good for me. And usually a slight bend in my knee will feel pretty good for me. And so you have to be the judge for yourself, for sure. Don't just do something because other people think that it should look a certain way, because that's not reality. And then I take a look at my back leg here. And then I move myself into, I get some height in my pigeon first by inhaling up, maybe then gazing towards the sky. And then once I find that alignment, I work my way down onto my elbows or onto my blocks. And then we're going to hang on to this for 30 seconds. You're going to feel this in your right hip. You can even just rest here. Put your forehead on your forearms and just hang out. With every breath, getting deeper into that pose, just releasing that hip. Honestly, we could probably do another 30 minutes or 30 seconds on this one, but I don't want to do too much for everybody right now, since this is a general kind of class. So move your way back up on your blocks. And then go ahead and switch to the opposite side. It's very easy to switch to the opposite side on this. My angle's gonna look funky, but that's okay. And so I just switch to the opposite side. I'm bringing my egg timer so I can keep track of time. And then I'm moving my way back up on my bolster, or on your pillows, or on your block. Your block would ideally go just right underneath that space, under your crotch, whatever you want to call it. And then you bring your leg behind you, same way we did it before. And then kind of move your way into your comfortable position. Like I said, I like to use the blocks to do this. Kind of stair step, and then now I'm going to start the 30-second timer. We're going to inhale up, and then release. And moving on top of our blocks. A few more seconds. And release. And bring your hands back up on top of your blocks. Inhale up, and then bring yourself back up to center. And then we're going to find our way up to standing from this position. I'm still mastering my flows a little bit too, so I'm sure there are better ways to sequence, but right now I'm just kind of going with my flow. I hope you guys are okay with that. And so we're going to bring our way back up. to downward dog, very gently and slowly, and then walk our way back up to our hands for standing. And then the way you do that is you gently roll yourself up. They say vertebrae by vertebrae in all of the classes. Okay, my favorite sequence is doing tree, but maybe before we get to tree, okay, let's focus on some side bends. So let's get in our mountain pose, which is about a fist with distance between your toes. Your toes are completely spread and like they're roots of a tree. And so you're just kind of chilling here. You're inhaling, exhaling. Maybe you're bringing your hands to heart center to find that grounding. And on your next breath, you're going to take one giant step to the right for your wide pose here. You're going to bend your knees in this pose. And then before I mentioned, I didn't bring my blocks nearby. So if you're using blocks, bring them nearby. You're going to maybe want them. So bring yourself back up here into this position. And then you're going to go ahead and stretch your side bend stretch by inhaling up and stretch towards the right side body. Inhale. And maybe take a look up at the ceiling. And then start to find some movements in your arms by making some giant circles. And then go in the opposite direction with those circles. Great. And then bring yourself back up to center for the side bend to the opposite side. Maybe open up that heart towards the sky. And then make those side giant circles inward. And then switch opposite direction. And then go ahead and release. Straighten out those legs to kind of give yourself a little bit of a break. And then we're going to bring ourselves back into it. Finding your breath. And we're going to release once again into our triangle pose. I'm going to bring it to the high setting here because I kind of like the supported triangle. And you don't need a block to do this. You could totally do this with the chair too. Just hang onto the chair like that, and that is just enough. It doesn't have to look a certain way again. It's how you're comfortable in the movement. And then go ahead, and we're going to do something tricky here. We're going to do a reverse triangle. So we're going to bring that top hand down to your foot here, and then we're going to bring the opposite hand out towards the back of the room. So we're doing this little bit of a reverse Trikonasana. I haven't used the Sanskrit in a long time, but that's what this is. A revolving. And then release that hand back towards your foot. And then bring that back up. Okay, back to prayer pose. We're going to do that on the opposite side. So I'm going to switch from block. Okay, and then we're going to release that side pose. It's usually like kind of a tick-tock movement for Trikonasana, but I kind of prefer getting into it from a squat to the triangle. And release that hand. Again, we're going to do the tricky thing. And bring your right hand or whatever hand you're using, and then switch to the opposite, the revolved triangle.
Go ahead and release that and hand back up. Whew. And now we're going to radiate like a star, star pose. This is one of my favorite poses because it makes you feel like really powerful and expressive and bright. So you can shine your star like a major. So shine your star, all points to the corners of the room. Shine your heart up to the sky or up to the ceiling. Maybe put a smile on your face. Yeah. And then take your star in half. And we're going to forward stretch. And if this is too much, if anybody has vertigo, some people do, and you can definitely practice yoga with vertigo, you'd use a chair. So you wouldn't go all the way down, you use a chair up to this point. Or you can use a table and do the same kind of poses. So there are a lot of options. So many options in yoga. My feet are pointed straight out. My back is flat. And all of that's happening before I go ahead and release. And my elbows are bending first before my forehead hits the block. Or before, if you're more flexible, your forehead might hit the yoga mat. Oh, my back just popped. It's a little bit of an inversion. Get the blood flowing to our heads a little bit. Few more breaths. And before we move back up, we're going to interlace our fingertips. If you want a little more stretch, you can do that. Or if you don't, you can just hang on to your elbows too. And that's cool. Or hang on to your wrists. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Or just don't do it at all. You just have your hands hang out on the floor. A few more breaths. And go ahead and push your way back up to flat back. And then heel, toe, your feet in before we bring ourselves to standing. Vertebrae by vertebrae. And then in my favorite part, which is tree, we are going to do our tree series here. And I think tree series is fun because of the balancing part. If you haven't balanced a lot or if you feel like you're out of balance, this is totally the exercise for you. And so if you want to get near a wall or have a chair nearby, I'm actually going to do that because I am always falling out of my tree. So I'm going to get this handy dandy little chair here so I can have it handy. And then again, just like mountain pose, you have about a fist distance between your toes. And then I'm spreading my toes like they're branches or like they're roots of a tree. And I'm bringing myself in prayer pose. But the tree stability is from the hips down. So I like to put my hands on my hips to remind myself that my stability is here. Just find your breath. And then you have your choices. Your choice here is to just kickstand your foot like that, and that is a good enough tree. That's a perfectly beautiful tree. And you can just chill here and find your focus point in your breath, and that could be your tree. Or if you want a little more, you can do your tree here on your calf, or if you want more, you're super flexible, which I am not. You put your tree here, and then you like chill out here for the duration. So choose your adventure. I will have the egg timer. And now, go. Your hands can be at heart center Or again, your hands could be at your hips. A few more breaths. And now you can extend your branches out in the last couple seconds we have. Get nice and tall and release. Okay, let's switch the chair to the opposite side. And then let's get ready. Let's choose our adventure. You got in the same way. Here, finding your roots, kickstand by the calf or inner thigh, and go. Knowing that when you stumble and get out of balance, it's just your muscles building. In yoga classes before, I used to feel like really embarrassed when I stumbled out of a tree or fell out of a pose. But then I realized it's part of the learning and the growth. And then you start from where your comfort level is, and then you start to grow into that. That it builds on itself. A few more breaths. And release. Great, great job. Okay, even though I can't see you guys, this is a little different because I usually have a Zoom class and I can interact with my friends on it. So it's a little different. Okay, we have a couple more minutes. All right, let's move our way down on the mat. And we're going to move into our final poses here because this has been an hour that has just like flown by already. So it's already been over 50 minutes of class. So thanks for watching. I'm hoping to do this more. So I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. So lower your body down. And then we're going to move into our happy baby pose. It's usually the favorite because it feels like, yay, I've made it. So you can hang on to your toes. And then you can just like kind of chill out here. You can hang on to your big toes, or you can hang on to your outside, the outside parts of your feet, or I don't really like this part. I think the outside of your feet or your inner toes are the best. So just take a breath, and then you can start to massage your lower back here in this position. And I love this part too because this is such a huge stress reliever for me, and there's some stress glands that are right there on your lower back, and you can just kind of like roll those out. You can also do it on the back of your head too, which is one of my favorite things. So you can just like rock yourself side to side. It just feels really good. It's a wonderful hip opener. And this part is great because it just reminds me that, yay, I've made it towards the end of class. This is awesome. Look at what I accomplished. So that always feels good too. So just figure out what your intention is. I didn't start with intentions in the beginning, and I usually do, but I think I was just a little hurried trying to start everything. But next time I do this, I'll absolutely make sure we do intentions. So we'd be reminding ourselves what our intention was for joining class today and taking that with you outside of class, remembering it in this moment and how you can use what you have learned, especially the breath work, outside of this space. So maybe take that breath, consider that, and as you're ready, you can go ahead and release into your final resting pose, which is your Shavasana. And if you want to be extra super duper comfortable in Shavasana, you have an option of just lying here just like this with your palms up towards the sky, or you can take your block or bolster and you can put that under your head or on your lower back. This is elevated Shavasana.
is also really, really comfy. You can take your block and just kind of like chill right here with your legs slightly bent. This feels really good too. And then you can just chill for a few moments. So with that, I'm gonna let you continue your Shavasana for as long as you want. And I wanna thank you all for making it to this point. If you have watched this the whole way, my deepest gratitude to you. The light in me shines, honors, and recognizes the light in you. Thank you.